The Spy Television, The Spy Uganda, Andrew Irumba Live. And this now episode belongs to Honorable Odonga Otto, the African contemporary philosopher. But now we are going political. Honorable Odonga Otto, nice to meet you.
Nice.
Honorable Odonga, I will start off very fast with you have been following what has been happening in Parliament, something to do with the sanctions. UK was the first to sanction the Honorable Speaker of Parliament. America has taken suit. Their argument is that, Anita, you are corrupt. You stole 500 iron sheets of Karamazong, and so we are sanctioning you. Odongo, you are a member of you are a politician, you are a member of Parliament, but most of all, you are a lawyer. I know you because you actually are my lawyer. Although, what does the natural justice say in your legal profession? The natural justice, what does it say?
Thank you so much. Now, sanction is like saying, don't come to our home. We don't need you to our home. So that is what the US and the British government has said to Honorable Anita. But the issue is, there has to be a fair trial.
That's why I was asking you.
You don't sanction people basing on allegations. When 28.5 million US dollars, money meant for PRDP, Peace Reconstruction and Development, was misused. PRDP, 28.5 million US dollars.
Peace Reconstruction,
Peace Recovery and Development Program for the North. The European Union gave lots of money.
128 million.
No, 28.5 million US dollars. That was the portion. When it was misused by the office of the Prime Minister.
No, you say when it was stolen.
Stolen.
Yes.
By then Amama Mbaba.
Why do you say misuse it?
Because anyway, some people
you
are
want
in
to be
prison.
gentle.
Yeah.
The money was stolen from
Yes.
the office of the Prime Minister.
Yes. Why didn't they give sanctions? The European Union asked Uganda government to refund their money. Now, in this particular case, they allege that someone stole iron sheets. Iron sheets, if we add the total value of all these iron sheets, could probably be like 7 million per MP. And for your information, it's not theft. It was mismanagement of state affairs. One minister says, I have iron sheets in the government stores. If you have any constituency pressures, just to help the ministers, let me know. People started going for iron sheets. Rebecca Kadaga got iron sheets. She went and roofed some school that was blown by the wind. Honorable Obua Amson got iron sheets. All these ministers, about 30, went and got iron sheets. Lugolobi. The only difference is Honorable Lugolobi roofed with a cow shed. That is an insult to Ugandans. It's an insult. People like Honorable Anita, among who got iron sheets, they gave it to public causes in their constituencies. It's not that they ate iron sheets. I want to be shown someone who can eat iron sheets like pancake. They gave and used it for a just cause, but the procedure they used for acquiring it was wrong. Now you come and say you are imposing sanctions because of those iron sheets, and you don't impose sanctions for 28.5 million US dollars. For me, that is double standards. It's double standards. I think the institution of Parliament is being targeted for passing the anti-homosexuality law. I may have a lot of problems with Anita. I may have also question marks on how she probably acquired her wealth in such a short period of time. That one, as Ugandans, we are all curious. And we have the office of the IDG, we have the office of the Auditor General, we have the office of the CID, and we have the declaration of asset forms. I would challenge people that the forms for declaration of assets of Honorable Anita Morals, when she became MP in 2011, be made public. Let them make it public. Actually, I challenge Honorable Anita Morals to go to the IGG's office, get a declaration of asset forms, and make it public so that people can see where you got the money from. That would answer so many questions. So it is wrong, in my opinion, for Ugandans to start supporting the sanctions of a former colonial master. The white man has not even apologized for what they did to the black man up to today. They killed people in Lamogi Rebellion. They killed people in the Mau Mau Rebellion. They killed people in Majimaji Rebellion. They collected slaves from Africa. They extracted our resources. Now, this is the same person now who is coming to say we are giving sanctions. They are behaving like the big brother. As a Pan-Africanist, I cannot support. It's not a former rapist to start advising your family member how the former victim should behave. You know? So at this point, we also challenge the government that we should show, if Uganda is a sovereign state, we should show that we have capacity of investigating and reprimanding those who are found liable. The way Kazinda is in prison. That is how we can claim our sovereignty. We cannot claim our sovereignty just by keeping quiet. So I don't support those sanctions. It is in bad taste. It is in bad faith. At the same time, I also don't support those who abuse public funds. I worked in Parliament for 20 years and I have only one house in Kampala like the hands of a cloth.
I visited you the other day.
Yes, that's where I live, and simple.
Along
20 years of work, one house, like the clothes of a hand. The hand does not change its clothes. So I also don't support abusing public resources. So that's my honest opinion on sanctions.
You know, the other issue that actually I think raised my eyebrows is the fact that you can sanction a person. First of all, the legal regime in Uganda is a copy and paste from Europe, is it? And they have it themselves. They say, if you allege that I am corrupt, you must prove. But then also, you must be given time and an opportunity to explain yourself. Now, you sanction somebody whom you have not even heard from. You have not sat with her. You have not asked her to defend herself. You simply accuse and then pass judgment. That is one. Number two, you must follow, because Uganda is a sovereign country, you must follow procedures. That somebody you can say, Honorable Odonga Otto is a thief. The local courts of Uganda must have proved him a thief. Now, Honorable Anita is somebody who has never been sanctioned for the cases you are accusing her for. You know, for those other people who have been accused, sanctioned at least officially, that this is the charge sheet. You have been charged with ABCD. At least, if you go and sanction them, we can say, okay, maybe they are waiting for court to pronounce themselves, but now there is a probability you are guilty and you are not guilty. The probability is a half. Anita is somebody who has not been sanctioned by any state agency that we are investigating this. Then for you, based in UK, and you sanction her. Now, on which evidence are you doing so? On social media?
I think the state of Uganda, unless the president orders, is weak. No one has capacity to investigate and charge Anita in its current form. I don't think anyone has capacity, not even the DPP, not even the CID, not even the IGG.
Why do you say so?
Because she's the third in hierarchy of government, and any attempt on that constitution will bring issues of immunity and has to be sanctioned directly by the president. So
yeah, but the law does not protect her from prosecution. The law only protects the number one citizen.
Yeah, but the president is protecting her. You heard what the president was saying in Korolo. So the president has taken a Pan-Africanist trend that Uganda will not be dictated upon by the foreign world.
That is correct.
Yeah. So be it as may, I would want to still repeat that sanction is saying, like, don't come to my home. So if I tell you, Rumba, I don't need you in my home, that's it. You are not going to start telling me there was no fair trial. What? I know why I don't want you to come to my home. So what these people have said is that they don't want to see Anita in the US. They don't want to see Anita in the UK. It doesn't require a fair trial.
Hey.
They will just not give you a visa to go to their country.
That they have been doing it very many, so many people actually we need even talk about the thuggery under the visa fees.
Yeah.
That one is okay.
Actually, very many Ugandans have been getting sanctions without doing anything wrong. People line up at the American embassy to apply for visas, and they are not given visas after they have picked their money, 300,000, 500,000, 700,000. So that is also a sanction by default. So the point is, the sanction is in bad taste. The white man thinks the issue of homosexuality is a question of human rights, which is an African. I have lived in Europe, I've told them. They believe the state should not interfere in private affairs of individuals. The state should not interfere on morality because they don't use the Bible to determine the standards of morality, which we Africans do. But also in Europe, they have criminalized polygamy. They get you with 2 women, you go to prison.
So when it comes to homosexuality, they say don't come into the
yeah,
affairs.
they say don't come into.
When it comes to polygamy, they say,
yeah. So it is also
double standard.
They also double standard. So Ugandan government should prove that it can prosecute those who have abused public offices. But in my honest opinion, there are many Anitas in Uganda, and President Museveni may not prosecute them because the whole government is founded on loyalty. The first rule is be loyal. The second rule is be loyal. The third rule is be loyal.
I think the other issue I saw of concern is, did you see the president's letter? The president's letter was asking the Honorable Anita, is it true that you own this building in the UK? So, Honorable Odonga Otto, let us assume Anita owns that house in the UK. Is it a crime to own a property outside Uganda? If it's a crime, is Anita the first person to own a property outside Uganda? I think the point would have been where you got the money. But for you to ask me, is it true you own that property? If I say yes, so if we are looking at for people who own properties outside Uganda, is Anita the first one? And if we are looking for thieves, people who have stolen public money, is Anita the first one? If at all she really did what they are accusing her for. So
that line of debate is very dangerous because we are saying, I wouldn't want to go in that line that saying that she did not steal alone. There are also many other thieves. I think the better line we may have to toe is, can they tell us what she stole? So that she carries her own what?
Her own
cross. Let us be told, what did she steal? You know? And then also the house in UK is not a crime, but it still boils down to the same thing. Are those things reflected in the declaration of asset form? All of us leaders, when we assume public offices, we have to fill forms on the assets we have at the time of assuming leadership, so that the IGG can track my wealth. But also that declaration of asset should be abolished. That paper should be given to Uganda and used for covering pancakes.
Why?
It's useless.
Why?
Because
it
is not controlling
the intention.
It is a bad eyes law. You know, a cobweb, it catches the fish. No, the cobweb does not catch a bird. A bird can just fly through the cobweb. But when a fly or a butterfly comes, it is trapped by the cobweb. So that declaration
or a mosquito.
Or a mosquito. So that declaration of asset forms is useless. Many people have turned to own wealth through companies, through multinational companies. There are companies here in Uganda that the owners are Ugandan, but you'll never know. The shareholders are companies, and the shareholders are companies. And when you open the veils, you find that the shareholders of those shareholders are companies which are offshore. So it is not serving any
interest.
The declaration of asset form is not serving any interest. You know. So I would still insist on the issue of the speaker that we should not fall prey where a sovereign country is policed by another sovereign country. As a Pan-Africanism, we will lose in that direction. But I would challenge the IGG, I would challenge all the arms of government, other than mere allegations, to come and tell us what Anita owns and where the money has come, and if it is proportional to the declaration of assets.
Fair enough. Honorable Odonga Otto, there has been this talk in Parliament, still on Parliament. The service award, you were in Parliament for 20 years. Was there a service award? If it was there, who passed it? When was it passed? Who are the beneficiaries, apart from the one that we know now? Who are other beneficiaries?
I think the question here is both legal and moral. The law, which is called the Parliamentary Commissions Act, if I don't forget the exact citation, says Parliament shall be paid salaries as shall be determined by the Parliamentary Commission. That's what the law says. So the commissioners are like the prefects of MPs. They determine the pay of the MPs. And in the process, they also determine their pay because they are MPs. Now, there is, yes. Now, there is a contradiction again in the law. In our rules of procedure, the rules, I think Appendix 6F, it's quite a while now, 3 years out of Parliament, says that members of Parliament shall not put themselves in any situation that amounts to conflict of interest. So, the parliamentary commissioners sit in the commission, they determine salaries of each MP. By the way, no MP earns less than 30 million a month. Some earn up to 48, depending on how far you come from. So the commission determines the salary of MPs. The commission determines the salary and allowances for the speaker. The commission determines the salary and allowances for themselves.
Which is, do you think that is correct?
That is masturbation. Financial masturbation. Huh?
Is that a new term? I've not heard
Yeah,
of it.
now you can.
That's what?
Financial masturbation. So the commission decided to enjoy by themselves. There is nobody to watch men.
There is no police.
Yes. The philosophical question is, who watches the watchman?
Yes.
Because even the watchman has to be
Watched over.
watched. So now in the previous parliament, the commissioners gave themselves cars, gave themselves fuel, gave themselves extra allowances monthly over and above the salaries of what? MPs. They gave themselves travel allowance. Each commissioner had a budget of travel, each commissioner 3 billion
3 billion.
in the past parliament.
3 billion.
Yes.
Only travel.
Travel for the commissioner, and there are 5 commissioners.
3 billion.
At personal discretion, 3 billion for each commissioner.
1 billion has 1,000 million. isn't
Yes.
it?
So
1
the former
billion,
commissioners like Honorable Ogwang, they had their own travel budget.
3 billion.
3 billion.
Each commissioner.
Each commissioner. It's a common pool, travel for commissioners, but each commissioner. Now, this new parliament, so this commission has evolved. Because the previous one, they gave themselves additional pay, like 30 to 50 million a month, over and above MPs. Then they gave themselves vehicles. Then they gave themselves fuel. Then they gave themselves drivers. Then they gave themselves 3 billion
3
per commissioner travel budget.
They were 5.
Yes. That is 15 billion for their travel. And you see them every time in the airport. You have to look for where to go.
Hey,
Yeah.
the commissioner simply looks.
Because they are the boss. They are the prefect of the prefects. It's not like me, if I'm invited for a conference in New York, I have to go to the speaker's office and get
And
permission.
request, yes.
And see, the commissioners would just say, get me a visa here, get me an air ticket here. Some would even go for shopping and massage in Thailand
Hey,
using taxpayers' money.
my money.
Yes.
You go in
Now,
Thailand
this-
simply for massaging.
Yes. Now, this commission...
When
has
you
a
come
call-
back, what report do you give?
You
Because
just get the clerk to write a report. Actually, there was one time the Emirates plane in the last parliament was full of Ugandans only. Half the plane. Both the speaker and the deputy speaker were on the same plane. And each entourage had 20 MPs, another one 20 MPs. So there were like 50 Ugandans in the plane. And this is also a protocol, lapse of protocol, because if the plane goes down, the Americans never allow at any one point the president and the vice president to sit at the same point together. They really try to think a little more. But ours, in State of Nation address, the president is there, the vice president is there, the speaker is there, the deputy speaker is there, the chief justice is there.
the IGP is there,
Yeah, weird way of doing it.
the commissioner of prison is there, the CDF is there.
Yes.
Eh?
So this commission.
So if that sky at Kololo comes down,
Yeah, there will be no government. The entire constitution will turn to be a piece of paper. Because now it becomes a challenge, you know. So, these commissioners of Mpuga, Solomon, Selwani,
Serwanyi,
and whatever, they became now greedy. They say, let us hit the mosquito with an atomic bomb. So they decided to give themselves a service award of 500 million shillings. Now, what is my position on that? It is okay, but not all right. It is legal.
It is legal, but not moral.
But not morally. It's not morally right. When a teacher in a health center 3 in Abaitababiri, a nurse is there for 160,000, a teacher is teaching in Kanungu, waking up early in the rain, for 230,000. The salary even becomes late. A soldier is sleeping in the trench for 400,000. Part of the money is picked from Wazalendo. And then you award yourself 500 million shillings. Shame on you.
So it is legal, they passed it, but
The
it's
law allows
immoral.
them, but it is immoral. Yes. For example, apartheid in South Africa was legal, but it remained immoral. It remained immoral throughout until the apartheid regime ended with the election of Mandela. So you will not see Mpuga and who go into any court of law because legally they will win, but morally
They are down.
I think that was so greedy of them. And for me, the Luganda saying that gives me consolation. The Luganda have learned a saying from Acholi, which they now say in English, that no matter how much money you have, you cannot eat a lorry full of matoke.
Hey, in Uganda,
in
how is
Luganda, I would have difficulties. So you can say it in Luganda well. No matter how much money you have, you cannot eat a lorry full of matoke.
Sinsonga sente meka zoina obugaga boina tosora kulya lole ya matoke nojimalawo.
Yes.
You can only eat a few.
A plate. You can only
eat a plate.
So these commissioners.
Actually, on that very argument, one time I had a conversation with my friend Haji, who? This rich man from Ham Chigun. I had a conversation with him one time. He told me, Rumba, everything that I have wanted in life, I have got it. At one time, I even dreamt of having the biggest house on the lake. I have had it. I dreamt of having a big house with very many rooms. I have had it. I dreamt of having very many cars, expensive cars. I have had them. I dreamt of having so many buildings, commercial. I have had them. Now one thing lingers in my head. That big house I have, and the many rooms that I have, and the many beds that are in that house, I only sleep on one bed. But even on that one bed, 6 by 6, I sleep on one part.
And you can even sleep two of you on one bed. That means you need a portion of it. Eh?
Then he said, in all those rooms that are in my house, I only sleep in one room. But also in that room, as big as it is, I only sleep on one small square meters where my bed is. Remember, even he's not sleeping on the entire bed. He's sleeping on a piece of the bed.
Yeah.
But that bed is also inside is a room, but on one small piece size of bed. Then he says, you can see this Lake Victoria as big as it is. I built on one part. But even that one part, I cannot finish sleeping on it. All the cars I have, every day, I can only drive one. All the chairs that are in the car, I can only sit on one. All the buildings I have, I can only sit in one office. So he told me, we have seen it all. We have seen it all.
So it's the same. So what these commissioners have done, they have chewed so much. Now it is going to choke them.
Yes.
I don't think Honorable Mpuga is comfortable under his own skin. You know, being an African is a full-time profession.
Right.
Living under this black skin is a full-time profession. It's not very easy to be an African. Now, to be an African who has eaten public fund,
it becomes even a bigger job.
It becomes a very difficult task. So under his skin there, they should be burning. And they will never be the same. To exhibit greed at a time when there is nothing. That's why for me, I'm a very happy man. I live my simple life. I don't have colossal sums of money in my account. I live one day at a time. I have peace of mind. No one can follow me that they gave me a bribe. I am free like a bird in the sky. And that's how you'll find me in heaven. So they really messed up here. And
so to conclude, the service award is legal but immoral.
Immoral.
Thank you
Just
very
like
much.
apartheid was
Legal but immoral.
Immoral, yeah.
Very good. Now, let's go to I heard you the other day talking about the GDP ratio in Uganda. And you were saying, I dropped you saying, one day we will look up and Uganda is no longer for Ugandans. Uganda is somebody's property. What did you mean on that?
Now, the law in the Constitution says, the law, even the Finance Act, the finance law said, the total debt, the money which Uganda government borrows should not exceed 50% of our wealth. GDP, gross domestic product, is the wealth of Uganda. Now, what is our wealth? Our current wealth is about 73 trillion shillings. That is the wealth of Uganda. What is the wealth of Kenya, or GDP? The wealth of Kenya is about 400 trillion. That means Kenya is more wealthier than Uganda. What is the wealth of America compared to Uganda? It's about 3,000 trillion. Now, some ordinary minds who could be listening to this TV, they don't understand that how can government have debts when they can print money. Many people would be wondering, government, they just print money. My friend, let me tell you, printing money has become global, controlled by the IMF and World Bank. That is why today we cannot even appoint the Governor Bank of Uganda, because the IMF has a list of people who can qualify.
Hey,
Actually, the last list I glanced on, there were 21 people.
21 people
Yes, who qualify.
for the Bank of Uganda governor.
Yes.
And it is World Bank to do that.
No, they have a list.
Hey, this is Uganda, it's a sovereign country.
No, it's not about.
You have a list to do what?
Which village do you come from?
Bunyanga, Boys.
Now in Buez, in Fort Portal, near Mpanga.
Hey,
Can you
you're not
produce?
there.
Yes. Can you produce a space and rocket scientist from Mpanga there? That's even if someone produces a machine that goes to space, it still have to be cleared by NASA, the National Space Agency.
Yes.
So that means a rocket scientist cannot emerge from Buezo here without getting clearance from. So the same is Governor Bank of Uganda. They need someone who thinks like them.
Hey,
Yes, who thinks like them, who should be in the
it
position
means
of.
they will have an influence on who becomes the
Because there is a way things are done. And one of the things they do, you are not allowed to print money of your country without clearance of IMF and World Bank. And before you print money, there are companies that print money. For example, Belarus is one of the companies printing 20,000 shillings, Uganda note.
Hey, you mean these notes are printed by different companies?
Yes, they are printed by different companies, not government.
No, I mean.
Yeah,
like
by different companies.
one
Belarus,
company will print 20,000, another
yes,
one will
Belarus
print
is
10,000.
printing 20,000 shillings note. And you know where they're printing from? Kenya.
Here,
Yeah,
the Ugandan money.
yes. But it's
Yeah.
an international company. The 50,000 should be being printed somewhere in Germany.
Kenya here.
Yes. But it's an international company. So if Uganda government wants 1 trillion shillings of 20,000 notes, they should do two things. One, they take the equivalent of gold to the IMF and to the World Bank. Then they now authorize Belarus to print the equivalent of gold which they deposited. Or they should take dollars. Or they should take dollars, the equivalent of dollars. Then they print the equivalent of the 50,000 note that your government needs.
Honorable Otto,
Yes.
Uganda, I need 1 trillion shillings
yes.
in 20 shillings.
Yes.
I will have to get from my country
Yes.
the equivalent,
Yes.
gold
Or dollars.
or dollar.
Yes. And deposit with the World Bank. Then they authorize Belarus and the other German company to print the equivalent. So that
But
means.
you have taken my gold, physical gold.
Yes.
You are giving me paper.
Yes, but that's what determines the value of money. Because if there is no control, then governments would print money the way they need. And then there would be inflation. Inflation is too much money following few products. So why am I bringing this? So Uganda government is poor because we don't have the equivalent of that
The
gold,
gold to give them.
and we don't have the dollars. We are not attracting as much dollars as Rwanda is doing. So that is why the Rwandan
So first
franc-
wait,
Yes.
that gold that I deposit with them,
Yeah.
whose is it?
It is now kept in Geneva. It's kept in the US. It's now kept. That's now what they call the World Bank. Now, if you go there, you will see the wealth of each country. They have even digitalized it. You'll see that is Paraguay, that is Malawi, that is Uganda. That's why you see the weight. That is America. It's now a global understanding. You get it? So Uganda government is broke because we don't have dollars. Two, we don't have gold. Why don't we have dollars? We are not attracting tourists. Why are we not attracting tourists? We have political instability. Why are we not attracting investors? Because we don't have regular change of government, unlike Kenya. So there are so many factors working against us. There is also unfair trade practice. For example, you should ask yourself, why is it that the gorillas are more in the Rwandan side than in the Ugandan side? Yet
Why?
it is the same pack.
Why?
That's not the $1 million question. I know why, but I don't
These
want to
are
talk about
animals.
it. No.
Hey,
Because when the tourists come, they migrate to the Rwandan side.
hey, hey.
So we don't attract dollars. Now, because we don't attract dollars, the government of Uganda now opts to borrow money that give us the shillings or dollars, this equivalent. Now, that is where we passed a law that we should not borrow more than 50%. Now we have borrowed 48.5%. We are only left with 1.5%. So we are, the debt to GDP ratio in Uganda as of now is very bad. We are only left with a borrowing margin of 1.5%. And no country in the world wants to lend us money because we are bad debtors. Now, that is how some countries like in Sri Lanka has lost the pot. Because the money lender said, give us the money, give us back our money, or we take the pot. And they took the pot.
Sri Lanka,
Yes.
they lost the pot.
Yes. Because you cannot pay the money. The government cannot pay the money. You want to print, you cannot print. So the next time they will say, give us the money, or we take
Or
Entebbe
give us
Airport.
Entebbe Airport.
Yes. Because they need their money. So this is the debt to GDP ratio is high. We are not engaged in production. The tax regimes are not wise. And we are consuming products we don't need. Ugandans are consuming whiskeys, perfumes, evening in Paris, red label, black label. The country is foreign owned. Airtel, Indians, MTN, South Africans, mobile money, Escom, South African, Stanbic, South African, Game, South African, DSTV, South African. So we need to go the Nigerian way and Ugandanize the economy.
But President Museveni has been talking about Pan-Africanism, patriotism, and nationalism. I thought he doesn't need lectures on Ugandanizing Uganda.
No, the president's philosophy, I had a discussion with him for 3 hours on this. His philosophy is attract foreign investors so that they can give employment to the youth. If the youth are not employed, they will become dangerous and join the opposition. So he's looking at jobs for the youth. He's not looking at Ugandanizing the economy. Because if you try to do that, we lose the jobs. So this is the person at the helm of government. So we're heavily indebted. The government is so poor. The government is so broke. You people down there, stop admiring these people in government. They are heavily indebted. The president has even reached a level of having their officers that are just to stop certain people from coming. Because the presidential pledges in the country, I was the chairperson of Government Assurance Committee, is 11.5 trillion shillings. The pledges the president has been making.
11.5
trillion shillings. Which is almost 15% of the GDP. President's pledges, he cannot fulfill them, he doesn't have the money. I will build a high altitude training school in Karamoja. I will give tractor to so and so. I will do this road. I publish a book on presidential pledges. He has no capacity to fulfill it in a lifetime. The government of Uganda even does not have that money because we are heavily indebted. So you people, you are dying there that, oh, you are admiring the president, you are admiring ministers. They are all in debt. That is why even the president, in his wisdom, which I support, has decided to merge some government entities to avoid employing so many people, to merge the government entities. And that is an initiative which I would welcome, but I would only, as a Pan-African, also say they should Ugandanize the economy and start finding systematic ways of having Ugandans to own this business. The Kenyans have succeeded. Safaricom is close to 100% Kenyans. Glow in Nigeria is close to 100% owned by Nigeria. But in Uganda, everything is foreign owned. This disturbs me a lot.
And you're talking to President Museveni, who is a Pan-African.
Yeah, he's a Pan-African, but he's looking for a quick fix. His philosophy is, if you give the youth employment, they will not join the opposition. So that is his philosophy. He has that gorilla mindset of attracting people to you.
So the other day you had the State of the Nation address, and the coming week we're going to hear this, the national budget. What do you anticipate? Do you see some solutions coming to address this very issue you're talking about, bringing down the debt?
The only new thing I expect to see from that State of the Nation address, other than changing the dates, because I've been tracking them for the 20 years in Parliament, it is almost the same. Even if you are reading for last year, the pages are almost
The same.
similar. The content is even similar. So those secretaries in State House have become lazy. I was following the State of the Nation address in the year 2016. It was the same with 2014. Even if you have the old text, they still read the same. So the only new thing, there are two new things I expect. And one is a big score for government. We are going to start producing tin and iron from the continent because we have been importing. And those are some of the things that make the dollar leave the country. You remember we talked about dollars. So we will start producing. I am privy to that information that they are licensing an international company to start producing tin and cobalt and iron and copper from Uganda. If they can succeed in reviving like Kilembe mines, then it means the dollar, again as the shilling, would come down. That is one new thing I expect to hear. And the other new thing I expect to see is government enforcing the taxes on the citizens. If I were the president, I would also enforce the taxes.
Hey, you have said Ugandans, because of the economy, Ugandans are running out of business. And
Yeah.
now you want still to burden them. with
Yeah,
taxes. That's
as a
why.
graduate of economics from Kerere University, I would want to say, which are the biggest companies paying taxes? The first five in Uganda. The first is mobile money.
MTN, Airtel, so
Yeah. The second is Bell Breweries.
alcohol.
Yeah. And the third is also alcohol. So in an economy where there is problem, can those be the highest taxpayers? Unless people are drinking alcohol out of frustration.
Yes, of course.
No, they're drinking red label, blue label,
Out of frustration.
gold label. Not
Out-
even
out
drinking.
of frustration.
Not even drinking Ajon or Maroa.
Eh,
Gold label, blue label. A bottle is 1 million, and it's all the way from Paris, from New York. People are taking Red Bull. This is not characteristic.
And we are happy because it hasn't come from Paris. New York.
Yes, I said this is from Paris. People are wearing expensive perfumes, Chanel 5. So if you, as economists, if you monitor the ostentatious character of people, then you know that you should increase the taxes. The moment they start getting away from the beers and from the alcohol, then you know things are now
Yeah,
hard.
but those
But
are
at the same time, the president says they're going to introduce the interest rate in banks. Because as of now, I think the government is taxing 7% for every loan got. So if they reduce the interest rate and increase these taxes on ostentatious commodities like red label, blue label, Amarula, then we can get a balance.
But you know all these tribes of alcohol. Yes, you said you don't drink.
I don't. I used to drink.
And you know all these tribes of
Yeah,
alcohol.
actually.
Have you
even
been taking notes or what?
those who invented Amarola were even copying the Maroa and Quete drink. They
Hey,
studied it properly and went and did it well from Europe. And what pains me, the biggest shareholders in Bell and Nile Breweries are South African. So Uganda is a garden for South Africa. Every time a South African president comes here and I'm in Parliament, I just see the president of South Africa coming to visit their garden in Uganda. Because if you compare the statistics of the money they collect from Uganda and the money we get from them, you just see this is their garden. Can you imagine Omeme is 100%, 99% South African owned company. So Uganda government privatizes management of electricity to a South African government. At this point, I think we have to give credit when it is due. I really want to thank the president. After 20 years of us saying in Parliament, finally in December, Omeme is leaving Uganda. Their contract is ending and the government has stood their ground. So we need to run electricity the way we are running national water. Actually, at the risk of being charged, I can even say anyone who steals power is patriotic.
hey,
Yeah, because you are saving our money from going to South Africa. The water is just powering from Owen Falls Dam here. Wow.
hey.
I pay my money to the South Africans. So stealing power, in my opinion, stealing Omeme is
Is patriotic.
patriotism. because you are saving your money from going to Omeme, the South African company.
Okay, our last point here. Honorable, you have been in opposition politics for a long time. And I used to follow your politics right from Makerere University. Then you came to Parliament. Sometimes you'd even stage one man's army at Parliament during the Tojikwata age limit and so on. How do you weigh the wave of the opposition politics now today in Uganda and at Parliament?
I think the
Are
opposition.
you, in other words, if the primary objective is we should remove a dictator, when you compare with what he used to do, is today's opposition parties near to that objective? If it is to change the way things are done, apart from the dictator, but the way things are done, the systems, the stealing of money by government workers, because the opposition is supposed to be the checkpoint. If you look at that, internally and externally and generally, do you say that there has been improvement? If government, for instance, used to steal 100 trillion previously during your times, and you say the opposition has worked hard, at least now we have squeezed the government, they can hardly steal 20 trillion. Do we see that progress? Where is that fight?
Unfortunately, I lost the election as a member of opposition. I should have either left voluntarily as a member of opposition, or I should have retired as a member of the ruling party. Now, the opposition now is at its weakest.
At its weakest?
Yes.
When you have the biggest crowd puller now?
I'll get to that. The opposition is at its weakest. Opposition is like snowballing. A small snowball keeps running, it keeps building, and it becomes bigger. Those who started the fight, the opposition fight, the Semugerere in 1996, the Francis Bwenge, the Sebana Kizito, it snowballed and came to the Dr. Besige. It should snowball, the Wakena Noop and Bobby Wine, they should add on to it, and it becomes bigger and bigger, and this would have been the time that it would be right for the change to come. But we are not snowballing. Besige has taken a back seat. It's low profile. Mugisha Muntu and Besige have split. FDC has split into two and has gone its own way. So the opposition is at its weakest, and yet corruption in the current regime is at its strongest, at its highest. So Ugandans are becoming pathetic, and they're almost reaching apathy. And for me as a political philosopher, I left FDC 3 years, I knew it would split.
You knew it?
I knew it would split. I had to leave early so that the house does not fall on me. And finally the house fell. Now what you are seeing today as opposition, the biggest leader of opposition now is Noop and Bobby Wine. That one, whether you like it or not, there is nothing we can do about it. He is the leader of opposition, he's the biggest crowd puller, he is the alpha and omega of the opposition as of now.
And so that's why the hope of those who think there should be change even tomorrow, that's where their hope is.
Surprising, it is false hope.
Hey, how?
It is false hope. Listen to me, I'm talking, I'm a political philosopher.
Oh.
It's false hope. Oh. Because who are the forces?
My ears are open.
Who are the forces behind Bobby Wine? Is Besige behind Bobby Wine?
I can say...
Is Muntu, this is a rhetoric question, is Muntu behind Bobby Wine? Is Amriat behind Bobby Wine? Is Jack Sabiti behind Bobby Wine? Is Ali Salaso behind Bobby Wine? Is Odonga Otto behind Bobby Wine? Is Regan Okumu behind Bobby Wine? Is Cassiano Wadri behind Bobby Wine? All name Salam Musumba. Salam Musumba.
That woman?
Yes, Salam Musumba. Maria Matembe.
That one
so
is
if you get all the opposition forces, you find that close to 95% are not behind Bobby Wine. So it makes the nature of the struggle Bobby Wine is leading, it makes it difficult to understand. We all agree with Bobby Wine and the Noob team that the corruption in government is vehement. But we are not agreeing that this is the vehicle that can be used to cause that change. It has not happened anywhere in the world. Wycliffe Jean tried to be the president. overheating. We Cliff Jean, someone who lands with a private jet and he comes with dreadlocks and shoes and smoking his weed and say, who the Gwanja what?
Wagwan.
The Wagwan.
Come on once again.
Did he succeed? Did he succeed to be the president?
Ahuja.
Yeah. He's even 30% richer. He has 30% wealth of the country in private pockets.
Wycliffe Jean.
Yes. It did not succeed. Malema,
Julius.
radical as it is very rich and wealthy. His party was the fourth, the EFF. So, you see, when you look at all these forces retreating, it means it is not going to work. Now, there are some people who don't want us to say this. When we say this, they say we are bought. How much? You don't even want me to think. Then you are more dangerous than Museveni.
Hey.
I should be free to think the way I want. Now, the moment I say that struggle is taking us nowhere, you will have a whole week.
Odonga Otto has been bought.
Yes. How much? Can I be bought? I'm a woman. I sell my property. If I have problems, I sell my property. I don't sell myself. So that struggle is going nowhere. And unfortunately, the struggle is mixed. And I wrote an article that was a political philosophy article that was published at the University of Pompeo Fabra. It's not this argument of why say Kerakabanda, Baitababiri. No. I said the noob challenge, the noob struggle should remove itself from a Biafra and from Kabaka Yeka. It has to have a national identity. Out of 57 MPs, 55 come from one region.
Uganda.
Yes. So the issue is, NUP has to rebrand and make sure it is not seen as selling Kabaka Yeka or a Biafra or a Federo. I'm not talking of federalism. So Ugandans are a little cautious, especially in the area I come from. They are cautious. They're saying, this thing, what is it? What is this thing? So if those questions are not answered philosophically, people will still dine with the dictator. They would rather vote for the devil they know than the angel they don't know. So to this extent, I personally know Bobby Wine. He's my friend who arrested together during Toche Kwatako. He's a very strong man, and the same cell together. But the nature of the struggle that is presenting itself to Uganda seems to be bigger than what his eyes can see. So what is my prediction? Before I tell you my wish, my prediction is that if President Museveni is alive, he will reach the elections massively and he will be declared the winner. 2026. Because
he will not win, but he will reach.
Both, it's now concurrently. They will reach and win and will be declared the winner. Because we don't have electoral reform, the law says the person leading in the majority polling station within a certain number of hours should be declared the winner. So the Electoral Commission will be mentioning Kashari, Kamwenge, Kanungu, then they throw one clean, Bobby Wine. So they'll keep reading like that for 3 days. Then after that, the law says when the time is, they have to declare the winner. They deploy the soldiers in the street. And any complainant should go to court. And this time frame also, which we ask for in electoral reform, is very limited. Now, when I say this, they say I'm bought. Okay, those of you who are saying Bobby Wine will win the next election, you come and cut my hands immediately after he's declared the president. Come, my hand is available for cutting. I bet and pledge. So when we tell you that there is an ambush, there is a problem in the road there, learn to listen now. Don't wait there and then you get into that problem and then you say they told us. We all want change. My mother died of a bullet. My mother died of a bullet. She was shot through the back.
In this government?
Yes, in 1987 when this government was coming to power. So I will be the last to speak in tongues. But we are saying wish is not reality. So Bobby Wine should retreat and call all these traditional members. And we see a coalition, a fresh coalition. But for me, my wish is, which I admire Noop and Bobby Wine, we are going to front political parties and liberate our areas. Because the campaign now is to have MPs in the house who can be ideologically grounded under one formation. That is where I admire Noop and thank them. because they managed to consolidate in parliament the views of the central region. So it looks like Uganda has gone federal without the law. So each group of people
The law will find them.
should liberate their
Themselves.
areas. Now, FDC is most likely going to retreat in parts of Teso and Ugisu because of Amore and Nandala. Besige, with the new party, may retreat in parts of Kigezi. You will see Ant retreating. Some of us also will retreat to our different areas, and then we try to liberate our areas and fight for more space
In the parliament.
in parliament. I think that is where, my opinion, where the debate is.
But Honorable Odonga Otto, you could also be sleepwalking, because that dream may happen if the son of the president does not actually launch his PLOU as an opposition
Which
party.
dream? Which dream?
The dream of saying you, the opposition parties, you're not going for regions. Bob Wine has taken over Uganda, VSJ takes over Kigezi, FDC takes over Busoga here, and so on. The Amuria takes over Busoga with Nandala and so on. That is in the context that General Muhoozi has not brought PLOU as the next biggest opposition party to his father's party. Because if that happens, then General Muhoozi's party, PLOU, will actually be the biggest opposition party, and it will sweep across the country. And so there will be two main parties in the parliament 2026. The NRM with the majority, and the next to it, the opposition party called PLOU. And so where will your ideas be now?
No, even before I comment about PLU, my idea that each group liberates their own area is to deny the 50%.
That's what I'm saying.
It is to deny the sitting
50
president
plus
the 50 plus 1%.
That-
So go back and liberate your own areas. Now, the issue of PLU, I really don't want to comment.
Why? You think it's
I-
think it is not worth your comment?
No, I don't want to comment. It is a wild dream. It is the wildest dream that by any stretch of imagination, I pray I should not dream in my lifetime. That we can have a president, Museveni as a ruling party president, and then the son as the leader of opposition. That is foolery. The leader of opposition to what? That is a wild dream. You would be more realistic if you say Muhoozi may replace his father. But to say that Muhoozi is going to be the biggest opposition party
leader
in parliament, then that means the opposition will be somewhere else. That one of parliament of Muhoozi, PLU, and President Museveni would be fake. It would be incest. It's political incest. We will create a position
Political
somewhere.
incest.
Yes, we will create a position somewhere else.
But-
so I don't want even to appear in my dream.
But that might happen. You know, because you're a political philosopher, don't you see that there is a possibility that can happen? That political incest can happen.
It's very unlikely. And if it happens, I'll go back to the village and I will only eat what I've dug with my hands. I will not buy it from a market.
Hey,
Yeah, I'll have a garden of cassava, a garden of potatoes, a few hands running around. I will just leave you with your world here, and I just be there. Probably I'll live longer.
you live long.
I'll be there. I don't even need a phone. I don't even need anything. I'll just be there in the village. We shall compare notes in 40 years.
So will that be a protest for that kind of happening? That would be your type of protest.
No,
You know the son of Obote, Akena here, James Akena, refused to shave off his hair, until I don't know.
Maybe he should have refused to brush his teeth. Probably it would be more radical protest. Not that I'm protesting. You know, there are times, especially that we are going to the fifth floor, 50 years. You should learn to sit back and let our children also try to do what they can. You know, but I can say with certainty, Uganda is going very fast in the wrong direction. The rich are growing richer, the poor are growing poorer, and the democracy is fractured. So we are in a situation of like sports betting, where we have put money on Man U. It is extra time and Man U is losing. So we are now like hyper.
Eh,
So may God uphold thee.
Uganda is running very fast, but in the wrong direction. That is the closing cap for Honorable Odonga Otto, the Pan-African philosopher. Thank you so much.
Thank you.